Good morning. Recording. So, good morning. Good morning. So, another moan. Another flipping moan, man. What's triggered this one? I can't remember what's triggered it. Oh, yeah. So, it's the silly season, isn't it? It's Christmas. And I'm seeing a hike in the numbers of item not received cases. And I see that they tend to open up the case about 4 days after I sent the item. Now I'm sending out second class, Royal Mail 48. Last year I sent out Royal Mail 24, and for years before that Royal Mail 24. And for sure I always got item not received cases. But because we've gone into the silly season, I'm seeing a spike in item not received cases. I made a point on one of the Facebook groups that, what's the point? The frequency of, no, the point is that come this time of year, eBay, or Royal Mail rather, Royal Mail introduces a seasonally adjusted surcharge, a green surcharge and a Christmas surcharge to cater with or deal with staffing requirements because of the hike in business that they receive. So they get a huge spike in business, so a huge spike in revenue, for which they need to hire people, so they charge us extra. Think that through. They're getting possibly, say, a 50, I don't know, I'm making it up, say a 50% increase in volume, so therefore a 50% increase in revenue. And they say that that increase in volume is too much for them to deal with, so they have to hire more people, for which they charge us an additional fee. Think about that. You're getting extra revenue because of the seasonally adjusted volume, and yet you're charging us more money to hire more people, when you should be able to hire more people with the revenue that you're getting. Anyway, not only do they do that, but they don't deliver anyway. They either can't get the staff, even though they're charging us for extra, or they're charging us for extra, using it for additional revenue, and they're just not delivering. Because I've never seen so many delayed items ever. Never. When I was doing 24, I got some, but not this volume, not this many. So then I know that once a customer opens up an item not received case, we get 3 days to deal with it. eBay gives us it's a tight window. So 3 or 4 days after delivery, plus 3 or 4 days. So it's not even 10 days after we've sent the item. And I find that at the deadline, I'm sending an item out again, or administering a refund, only for the original item to be delivered a day or two later. So I feel as if eBay should also flex the time that a customer, a buyer, can open up an item not received case at this time of year, knowing that there's always a delay. We're nobbled as small time operators. We're nobbled by both the Royal Mail, they charge us extra for a service that they're not fulfilling, and eBay are putting pressure on us to actually deal with the customer's item not received case in a smaller window, a contracting window, because it used to be longer. They've reduced it, so they're putting additional pressure on us. So we're losing all the time. eBay, Royal Mail, do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear the case? So I did a little bit more digging, didn't I? And I see that they're introducing alternate delivery days in 2026. And I thought that was only related to letters. It's not. According to my postman, it's letters. But according to everything that I'm reading online, it's large letters as well. Second class large letters are going to be delivered on alternate days, and it will vary on alternate weeks. So on week 1, second class will be delivered on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but the following week it will alternate and it will be delivered on Tuesday and Thursday. So one week it will be buyers will receive a delivery 3 days a week. The following week it will be 2 days a week. But they're claiming that they will still receive the item within 3 days of posting. I don't believe that. I really don't believe it. I think we're going to see a deterioration of second class services. I really do. I can't see how this is going to actually... What it will do, it will reduce their costs, but it's not going to improve the service. Because there's a bottleneck. They're introducing a bottleneck. There's already bottlenecks there. But introducing additional bottlenecks is only going to cause the volume to stack up, and they're going to require additional people to clear those backlogs. So it's going to have an impact on their revenue anyway. It's basic queuing theory, right? If you know anything about queuing theory, the objective is to remove bottlenecks so that the flow can get through faster. But they're introducing bottlenecks on top of the bottlenecks that they've already got. Their bottlenecks are constraints with labour. They can't get the staff. So they think that by delivering on fewer days with the same staff, that they will, 1, reduce their costs, and 2, reduce the bottlenecks. It's not. It's going to increase their costs, and it's going to increase the bottlenecks. We shall wait and see. But it begs the question, in my business, have I got to change the way I sell? I used to do first class, and at the first class level I never got any sales. I hardly ever got any sales, because all my competitors operated at the second class level, and the gap between the second class and the first class price made my products far more expensive than everybody else's, so nobody bought from me. So I started to see a decline in sales. However, what's the point of having those sales if you're only going to end up doing refunds and resends? It just doesn't make sense. And so I either have to basically change the postage and increase my costs, or move to another model completely. I can't see how the marketplaces are going to go, because on my shop, my own Shopify store, I get a lot more buyers filling a basket and spending 20, 30, 40 quid. Got a lot more than that than I do on eBay. eBay, the purchases are made in the marketplace, so it's transactional. They'll buy one from me and they'll buy one from somebody else. So look at the buyer will come into the marketplace and they'll need 5 items, and they'll do a search for one item, they'll find it and buy it. They'll do another search for another item and then they'll buy it. They don't actually go into the seller's shop, because eBay have made it difficult for them to do that, to navigate their way through to the shop, unless the shop seller is now paying for promoted shops. So unless the seller is paying for promoted shops, only then does the buyer come through to the shop. But even then, they're not going to be able to find all the items that they want in the seller's shop. So they end up going back into the marketplace, searching for another item and making another purchase. So basically what you've got is somebody buying 3 or 4 items from 3 or 4 different sellers, incurring 3 or 4 lots of postage, ramping up the cost of purchase, of acquisition, fueling inflation and destroying the environment, rather than basically working with nature to enable a buyer to buy from one seller everything that they need. Because if they end up buying 6 or 7 items from a seller, then maybe they'll buy 10 items from a seller, and so that the actual overall spend will increase, and the overall commission that eBay receives will also increase. Makes sense to me to do it that way. I think they're basically not. They're creating shopping environment that will only enable the big players to capture the business to the point where smaller operators will be squeezed out, and then the marketplace will be left with big players who will then begin to tell eBay what to do. You want our business, you do what we tell you to do. And eBay will basically end up being on the back foot. That's what I think. Long term, for sure. You know, let's take Argos, for instance. I don't know what kind of volume they've got on there. But let's say, for instance, it gets to the point where the volume of business and trade that Argos is doing is great. It's wonderful. It's in the multi-millions. And of course, they don't want to jeopardize that, and neither does eBay. But the moment that one of them has an issue with the other, then they'll start to actually make threats. We're going to pull out. We're going to basically go to Amazon, and we're going to say that only now are we available on Amazon. And eBay will go, no, don't be like that. Don't be like that. We'll give you extra. We'll give you a reduction. And then, the customer, the seller, will be basically telling the provider, the marketplace, what they can do. And that's why it's important for eBay to maintain a fair marketplace, an ethical marketplace, a balanced marketplace. But from what I can see, is that it's artificial, it's manipulated, it's close to mis-selling, because a buyer who comes in to buy something will only end up finding the item that's basically got an inflated price. A cheaper price will be right down the bottom of the search results. So you come in, you want to get a bread maker, a brand new bread maker, Panasonic, it's 199 quid. The ones that promote it, basically at the top of the list. So they basically ensure that they get in their full retail price to make a profit, because their costs are already high. So they're at £199 for a bread maker. But somebody who doesn't promote is able to sell it at a lower price, but it's right down the bottom of the list. They're selling it at 160 quid, £40 cheaper. So somebody comes in and does a search, and he sees the one that's £199 because it's at the top of the search result. But he could have got it for 160 quid. You could argue, yeah, he's got to go and search down the bottom, and he's got to manipulate the actual, lowest price first kind of thing. But he's overpaying, isn't he? He's overpaying. He's being missold something when he could have bought it at a lower price. I wonder if there'd be a case against that, class action. Is there an argument there? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But you could say, no, you go into one marketplace and it's 199. You go to another marketplace, Amazon, it's 189. So that's not mis-selling, is it? Because the customer chose to go to eBay. He didn't go to Amazon. If he went to Amazon, he could have got it for 189. But no, I'm going to eBay and I'm seeing that it's available for 199, but I could have got it for 160 from the seller who isn't promoting. Well, you should have bought it for 160 then. You should have gone down to the bottom and searched for it down there. But I didn't have time. Tough. But is it ethical? Is it an ethical practice to promote those, to put forward those at a higher price because they're paying eBay for a higher position in that search result? I wonder what the ethics say about it. I wonder what the law says about it. I mean, I have no idea really. But anyway, it's got me thinking, maybe, the stuff that I sell, where in the past you'd basically sell at cost to break even in order to actually appear higher up the search results. I think those days are over. But, people only want 3 or 4 items, 3 or 4 buttons or something like that, and there's no profit in it. There's no profit unless they're prepared to wait for delivery up to 10 days. But they're not, are they? Because they want it instant. They want instant gratification. So therefore, you've got to charge you've got to basically send it first class. They don't get an instant gratification on first class, but they get it pretty close to it. They'll get it the next day or the day after. But it'll inflate the price. And the gap between, from what I can see, the gap between first class and second class, just regular Royal Mail 24.48 is 45, it's 55, it's 60 pence. It'll add 60p plus VAT, which is 70.60, is that, so yeah, 72. So it's 70, it's getting on for £1, isn't it? It's not far off £1. Soon be £1. The gap between the second class and first class. It just makes your product that much more expensive. So the only other way is to basically start selling in the category where you're doing whole packs only. Whole packs. I wonder if it's possible in haberdashery to shift over to a new model. I don't think it is. I just don't think, unless eBay turns round. You see, if I was eBay, I would see that these changes by the Royal Mail as a strategic threat to their business model. And I would basically say, we're going to go for a level playing field. And if our guarantees only exist if you buy and pay for and provide and sell at 24 track services. So it basically raises the bar. You want a guaranteed, fast, efficient service, it's got to be 24 tracked. Everyone. You want guarantees. If you send second class or first class without tracked services and the customer basically says that they haven't received their item within 48 hours of you delivering it, of sending it rather, you're forced to do a refund. That's what I would do. And that will say, no, I'm not doing that business. And they'll either stop selling on eBay or they'll all go to 24 tracked. And then we're talking about a level playing field, aren't we? Because I do remember a time when eBay said that they will only now honour item not received cases or support you in an item not received case if you sent it tracked services. That was the early introduction of tracked services. And what happened at the very last minute, I don't know if you remember this, but at the very last minute, Royal Mail introduced the scanning feature on their regular 24 and 48. You know, when they scan at the door, and it gave a tracking number as confirmed as delivered or not delivered. And eBay backtracks at that particular point. That was it. It went to bed. It was put to bed, the whole thing. But what I really think is that eBay wants us all to go on track services. That's what I think. Indeed, there are some sellers in the Facebook groups that only send items by tracked, but they're sending higher value items. Maybe that's what I've got to do. I'm going to have to go and look at it. But, I mean, I don't know if I've got anything. Let's see what it says. Should have come prepared, but let's have a look and see. Hold on. Drive. Let me just have a look. See? Happy Mart. Let me have a look. So, let's have a look. I don't know if I ever wrote it down in here. Postage prices. See, large letter is £2.5. Have I got tracked in there? Large letter, second class. Here we go, hold on. Large letter. No, I've only got second class tracked in here. Oh no, here we go. 24 tracked is £3.48. That's what I'm being charged, plus VAT. So my recovery price is £4.18. But what's it for a large letter? Yeah, a large letter is £2.86. It's about 56. No, it's about 70 pence more than regular first class. I wonder what. You see, if eBay introduced a system which said, buy your first item and the second item, maybe that's what I do. I just give them a much bigger discount. Anyway, I'm thinking out loud. Thank you very much. What do you think? I mean, are you concerned by it? I'd rather suspect that I'm the only bleeder that's concerned. I think everybody else probably doesn't care. Resellers won't care because they'll just add the price on. They're selling a phone. They've bought a phone at the car boot. They've paid 50 quid for it. They're selling it for 90. So there's £40 profit in there, and they're adding the track price on top. Customer's going to pay for it because it's a cheap phone. But me, I'm selling buttons for a couple of pence. I can't add like £3.50 on top of a packet of buttons. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm just wittering on. Check you later. Bye.